Do you know, I keep leaving my my mute button on because usually it undoes itself after you do the intro, and for some reason it hasn't done recently. But hello, welcome to THFC Till I Die, home of Tottenham past, present, and an exciting future under Ange Postecoglou. It is Newsbeat. It is the best show around at 4 o'clock for your latest and breaking news from everywhere, from Tottenham Hotspur, the whole Premier League, and everything. But look, it's in, it's finished, it's closed. 11 o'clock last night, the big bell rung, the door was shut, nobody could do any more business. What an anticlimax that was, apart from us doing a bit of business later on in the window. But how are you guys? We've got Everton tomorrow, so we're going to do a pre-record later. Me and Philip for you members, and going out for your non-members as well, where you can watch the game, the latest injury list for Tottenham, who plays, who starts. I'm going to start with Højbjerg in the team. I want to know what you think as well, guys. Um, and also, we're going to talk a little bit about the transfer window. Was it a good window for us? Was it a bad window? Where are you on that? It wasn't the most expensive window either. Compared to last January, it's a massive fall. And the likes of Chelsea, who there was teams that haven't spent at all. The biggest spenders in the Premier League, believe it or not, is Crystal Palace. They're the biggest London transfer team, second only to Tottenham. Palace and Tottenham, I found the list earlier on. I did copy and paste it, put it on for today's show. That Palace and Tottenham are in the top 10 of spenders in the transfer January window in the whole of Europe. And that list is a little bit weird. There's no Man United, there's no Chelsea. Chelsea are in a whole lot of problems at the moment. And I think Chelsea, right, when I was watching Talksport earlier on, guys, when I was putting the show together, they were on about Chelsea and FFP. Have they breached the FFP rules? And technically they have. They have to the 30th of June. I hope I've got this right. They have to find 160 million. So the Euro start on January the 14th. They have to the 30th of June. So say Gallagher goes to the Euros with England. He's going to be away in international duty. So they've got to the end of the season till he goes away to sell him. Now, I think Daniel Levy was smart by not buying Gallagher in this window because he knows when it comes to the summer, he's got a year left in his contract. And he can probably get him for a cheaper price because Chelsea are over a barrel. Now, you look at Chelsea, is it bad ownership? I think it is. You look at Daniel Levy, we can spend up to 400 million or some near enough that on FFP. And we've done very well. We've had a good window. I've seen a few people around saying it's a crap window. It's not good. And look, I think we've done very well. And that's my opinion. But look, we'll get into it, guys. Let's see who's in the chat. Of course, Philip, of course, isn't well. Hopefully, he'll be back for the rugby watch along tonight. He may jump in during the show. He said if he feels better, he will. Big up to Luke Chapman. We've got plays at the weekend. Portsmouth versus Northampton Town, Saturday, 3rd of February, 2024, 3 o'clock, Fratton Park. Bet League One. And then he says, ninth place, Northampton Town. Travel to the top of the table, Portsmouth in the Sky Bet League One. Yeah, it should be a good game. We've got Accra Wembley 1. Big up Wembley. Says, evening all. Tough one tomorrow. The dreaded lunchtime KO as well. We had 1 day's less rest than Everton too. I don't think that would mean too much. Ange looked quite, optimistic about that game. He was annoyed about the biggest signing Tottenham couldn't get through yesterday. They were annoyed they couldn't buy Lewis Hamilton, apparently. And he really got the whole newsreaders with that one. That was very good from Ange. Luke Chapman, I'm in Portsmouth on Saturday. But it's mainly because I'm getting drunk there tonight in the metal club they have. Big up, Greg. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the headbanging. We've got Carl Simpson. Good afternoon, gents. Hello, everyone in the chat. Greg Selnick. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Wembley 1. All my family and my dad's side's original come from Northampton, so I always have a soft spot for the Cobblers. Yeah, big up at Wembley 1. Got Stephen Cartwright. Big up, sir. Says, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Coys. We've got yeah, I know I am. Sorry. Bad. bad. Big up Dermot. We've got FTSM column, our partners channel, the channel we've teamed up with as well. And we've got, oh my God, it's the only one. It's the one and only Mr. Transfer News himself. Yeah, do you know what? I've taken over from Sky Sports as the man of I am called Mr. Transfer News. That's just it now. The Profitron is here. You want the latest transfer news, you come to me. You don't go to Jim White. You don't go to Talksport. You don't even go to Sky Sports. You come to THFC till I die. We'll give you the latest and breaking news. Simon Cohen says, no, Skip, don't worry. He's not even on my bench, the team I've picked. Don't worry about that. 30 million for Gallagher. I do think that's what he will go for in the summer. I think Chelsea will have to sell him. And we'll have to wait and see. But look, I think Chelsea are in a lot of trouble. Big up to George. The window is a clear lesson to Bayern and Barcelona not to involve themselves when Spurs are after a player. Absolutely. And do you know what? I think that's sweet revenge for what happened to us with William when he went to Chelsea. I really do. It was mentioned today somewhere, and I think I'm over the moon with that. It's absolutely what a buy. What a coup. We've got Greg. This transfer window has been instead as a bloody dodo. 3 signings sort of for us. Any other year, that'd be normal. Yeah, I know. Big up Dermot. Big up Peter Ram. Hope you're doing all right, sir. Carl Simpson. That was great. It was, Carl. I had to watch it twice. It was so funny. It made me giggle. And Peter Rem says, Anne's joke about Hamilton was classy. He's rarely fooled the journalists, but of course they will. Yeah, they will be out to get revenge. Of course they will. And damn it, where's your yellow tie? I forgot to put it on last night, but don't worry. For the summer transfer deadline day, I will get one. Yeah, and Simon says, Bayern and Barcelona don't mess with Spurs. No, they don't. We got Daniela. Korea 1-0 down to Australia. Come on, Sonny. Ooh. Andrews asked about that in the press conference, and he said how much he wants Australia to win. He wouldn't be too disappointed if Sonny wins because he wants Sonny to win an Asian Cup. And I think we all do. We all want Sonny to come back as Asian Cup champion. So that would be good to him. So listen, guys, we're going to go through the transfer window. Hello, what happened? To an absolute nightmare, this show. There we go. That's better. Now, Premier League spending drops drastically compared to January 2023. The Premier League clubs spent a record 780 million last January. Profit and sensibility rules hamstrung clubs across England's top flight. Tottenham's 26.7 million signing of Radu Dragonsuit was the biggest deal. It was. So look, we'll go on. These are their incomings, of course. Tottenham got Timo Werner on loan, and because we've got Radu for Genoa for 21.5 million. The outgoing. So I think this is where we've had a good window. I think this is where we've actually had a good window. Hugo Lloris, of course, gone to Los Angeles MLS for free. We've got Regland's gone to Brentford on loan. Ashley Phillips has gone to Plymouth on loan. We've got Eric Dyer's now left the club and joined Bayern Munich on a 6-month loan deal. After that, then he can go wherever he wants. Of course, last night, Velez went to Seville on loan on the 6-month loan deal. And of course, Perisic as well has left Tottenham to go to Highgate Split. So that he won't be coming back as well. And of course, Tantanga has gone out to Millwall on loan. Ashley Phillips has gone to Plymouth as there. Jess Spence has gone to Genoa and part of the Radu deal. We've got Alfie Devines at Plymouth. We've got Josh Keeley at Barnet and Matthew Craig at Doncaster Rovers. So, look, guys, I would class that as a very good window. I really do. I mean, you look, we all shouted we want a centre-back, and we've got a centre-back in. We knew we were light in that department, and we got one in. Timo, for me, was a good signing as well. I think for 15 or 17 million in the summer, I think that's a snip for performance he put in the other night. So Let me know in the comments, guys. What would you rate that out of 10? I give that an 8 out of 10, and I'm sticking by that because I think it is a very good window. It is very good indeed. Let's go back into the chat, see what people are saying. We've got Peter M. Sonny's winning the Asian Cup might be good for his morale. So for us, even if he's away for a couple of more games, I wouldn't mind him winning it. To be fair, I think he deserves it. He's put a lot of effort in South Korea. He's there every game. He's the captain. I think, look, it'd be great for them to win it. Orient signed 2 players yesterday on deadline day. Edwards from Arsenal youngster and Palace youngster are both loans. Big up to Daniela. They were all loans apart from Luis. We actually haven't got rid of that. Well, Dyer's gone. He's not coming back. He's left the club because he only had 6 months left in his contract. Perisic has gone as well. So he's gone as well. So that's 3 players. That's 3 players gone from the club. And then the rest of the youngsters that have actually gone out on loan that will come back. But if you look at Hugo Lloris, Eric Dyer, and Perisic, 3 of them have left the club. Do you know? And for me, that is a good window. How many? Yeah, well, they have gone permanently, Daniela, because Dyer's out of contract now. He had 6 months left in his contract, so he's now out of contract with Tottenham in the summer. Reggie, I think, will come back, but I think he will be sold in the summer. Jet Spence, if he plays well for Genoa, then a part of the deal, he will go there, I think, for 10 million. But Dyer has gone. Don't worry, Dyer's not coming back. Trust me, trust Big Ange. Trust Big Ange. He has got his team in the kitchen cooking. Yeah, he has. And big up to DJ Samuel as well. We got the Swedish Messi. We do. I am so excited about that signing. Rarely is good. Let's go on. So look, Luis out, Dyer out, Perisic out, Reguilon on gone. I know Reguilon will come back, but it depends where he goes in the summer. Velez is going to have to get some game time, which is brilliant for him. Perisic, look, he wanted to go back. I've got no problem with him going back to Hijack Split. I think it's a great place to end his career. Ashley Phillips, of course, gone to Plymouth. I think it'd be a good experience for him. So with Alfie Devine's gone to Plymouth as well. Josh Keeley's gone to Barnet. Matthew Craig's gone to Doncaster Rovers. Maybe Colin in the chat can keep us an eye on how Matthew Craig is doing. But I think these are good loan moves for these youngsters. And of course, the big one for me, Eric Dyer, will never be seen in a Tottenham shirt again. Thank God. That's gone. Now, if you look at that, this is the total players, right, in winter 2024. If you look at the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, who else? Liverpool, even Manchester United, even Man United. Now, Man City got a load of undisclosed, but a lot of them are summer signings. But if you look at other clubs as well, there has not been Burnley, 33 players loaned, undisclosed, and 44 total permanent. Now, this is the total players in the winter 2024. I mean, you look at that, Chelsea, nothing. Did we miss an opportunity to take a leap forward on the teams ahead of us? I think we did a little bit, to be fair. All the incomings, this is one page of 5, but I took the first page. Of course, Tottenham are up there with 26.7 million. Adam Warhoth, the Crystal Palace from Blackburn, which happened yesterday, that was 22 million. Man City, then Claudio Invera, who comes from River Plate, but he's going back to River Plate, and he's joining Man City next January. So in a year's time, 12.5 million. Crystal Palace also bought in Daniel Monzon from Gink. Morgan Rogers went from Villa to Middlesbrough. Valentini Barco went from Brighton to Boca Juniors, 7.9 million. Matt Steele's gone from Forest to Strasbourg, 5 million. We've got Brentford, Luton, and two outgoings from Aston Villa. Joe Gucci gone to Adelaide United for 1.3 million. So a lot of good signings there. But us, of course, Tottenham, top of the list, of course. Now, total players out. Now, I know this is a bit hard to see. I will do this better for another show when we go into this. But if you look at loans, 88 loans out for Spurs, 11 undisclosed, and 11 total appointments. So if you look at Chelsea and that is a lot of youngsters going out on loan. A lot of youngsters. This is more the youngster side of the game. And a lot of teams getting youngsters out on loan to get first team. Apparently, now this is the bit that got me. In 2023, the total spend in the last January window was 780 million point eight 780.1 million. And clubs received around about 105.3 million. This January, it's only been a spend of 96.2 million, with clubs getting back only 2 million. Now, figures include potential add-ons and exclude undisclosed fees. And that is one hell of a drop. If you look at it, it's a hell of a drop. And it's a hell of a drop because teams like Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, teams like that cannot afford to spend big. Newcastle couldn't spend big. They've got millions and they cannot spend a penny of it because they're close to FFP. So did Tottenham miss a trick in this window by just, let's spend a bit more. Let's try to get get 3 or 4 players in. And as much as I think it's been a good window, I'm left it with a little bit of disappointment, I think, as well, because there was a chance of us taking a chance, taking the leap on the rest of the top 4. And I don't know what you guys think, but I just think if only this little bit of only at the end of this, if only we sort of went, do you know what? Okay, Gallagher, we'll pay you 40 million. But it's just that little bit of, I don't know, disappointment. I suppose disappointment's the wrong word, but I suppose a little bit, if only. And you don't want to leave a transfer window with if only. You don't want to sit there going, God, if only we paid that much for that player. And I hope we get it right in the summer. We need a striker. We need a striker for the summer. Now, we need a striker. We need a central midfielder. And I wonder if we're going to go for Gallagher. I would love to know what you guys think, who we're going to go for with a striker. Now, this is January's top spending. This bit got me. Apart from Barcelona and PSG on 40 million and Bayern Munich for 39.5 million, there is no other really big clubs in there apart from Tottenham. But number 6, Crystal Palace, is the top Premier League side in that top 10 list, where they spent 29.1 million. Now, Tottenham spent 25 million. So the top 10, Leipzig spent 24 million, Spurs 25 million, Rennes 26.5, Benfica 27, Palace 29.1, Zenit St. Petersburg 29.9, Bayern Munich 39.5 million, PSG and Barcelona were 40 million, and Olympique Lyon were 50.1 million. And also we're one of the highest spenders in the January window in the Premier League as well. So, all this that Tottenham don't spend, and it's not a good window because we only got 2 players in. You got to look at the window as a whole window. You got to look at it as a whole business, not just cherry pick what you think is good and what you think is not good. You got to look at it all. You got to look at the outgoings do the incomings outweigh the outgoings, and they do. Because we got rid of Lloris, we got rid of Eric Dyer. We've got a load of players out on loan. Dombele stayed in Galatasaray to the end of the season, and we get in the centre back, and we got these players in early to get them used to playing Ange's system, to get them used to playing his way and get settled into the club. As he said in the press conference today, it's no point getting the player in like yesterday, because he's going to need another month to get used to what he's doing. We got them in early. We got them in quick, and it was a good window. And I know a lot of people not be happy. A lot of people, you're never going to please everyone. And look, and I've got sort of the attitude of if only. If only we pushed the boat out and Gallagher just tried to get it. But on hindsight, I think Daniel Levy's right, because what's the point of paying 60 million helping Chelsea out of a hole? Where if we wait till he comes back after the Euros and we give him 30 million, they're going to have to sell him anyway. He's got a year left in his contract. So, I think we're doing it quite all right here. I think Tottenham have played it quite smart this window. Now, of course, Tottenham are set to complete the signing. Of course, the Swedish wonder kid Lucas Bergvall, after hijacking the Barcelona pursuit of the teenager. Bergvall, 18, was expected to move to New Camp after weeks of talks, but a stunning late twist saw Spurs convinced him to snub interest from Barcelona and join the North London club as instead. I'm absolutely over the moon with this. This kid is the next best thing, I think. He's been called the Swedish Messi, and I'll tell you one thing. If Ange gets hold of him, we've got a player on our hands. We rarely do, guys. We do have a players on our hands. We really do. Look, let me know what you think. Let me go back to. Let me know what you think about that. Do you feel, if you look at that spend and you look Tottenham 25 million to that with Spurs, do you feel that we have missed an opportunity? Or we've missed something along the lines of, do you know what? Could Daniel Levy and Paratici and Lang, could they have pushed a bit more? Or do you think Angie said, do you know what? I've got the two players in. I've got Verno and I've got Rudu in. I'm happy with that to the summer. Was it all about outgoings for Tottenham this window more than incomings? I'd love to know what you think, but 96.2 million compared to last year. Last summer, by the way, as well. The spend for last summer in 2023 was 2 billion. 2 billion euro was spent in transfer fees last summer. Let that sink in. 2 billion. And we've now come down to this January window, not even breaking 100 million. And clubs have only received 2 million in received fees. Compared that to last year, 105 million. So does that show that there's no money in football? Does it show that the Premier League's the only game in town with the money, where the rest of the European leagues are struggling? Is this the thing where the Super League is going to wear its ugly head again? Another league's going to get together and say, hang on a minute here. We have to do something. Because the president of Barcelona has already said today that the Super League doesn't need English teams. They have their own Super League. So is this going to be a European thing? They're going to do their own Super League to compete with the Premier League. And where does that leave then the other European leagues? Where does that leave Serie A? Where does that leave La Liga? Where does that leave the French league? The Bundesliga? Is it a case of they're going to all get together and say, hang on a minute, we need to do something here? Because there is no money within the European game. The only money in town is within the Premier League. And it's like a closed shop. And it's like Tottenham are not going to help Chelsea out of a hole by giving them 50 or 60 million to buy Conor Gallagher. Why would you? Why would you? Why would you why would Daniel Levy say to Todd Bowley, do you know what, Todd? I feel sorry for you. Here's 60 million for Gallagher. Todd Bowley be on his hands, like, right, lads, take that off the FFP. We're only about 100 million now short. I think Daniel Levy played the Gallagher deal spot on. Get him cheap in the summer. I really do. But I do, for this really shocked me, the money that's been spent this summer, this January window. It does prove there is no money within the European game. And the European game is broke. But the Premier League is growing and growing now. Has the Premier League become too big for its boots? Is the Premier League the biggest monster in town? I think it could be. Where when I was a kid, it was always La Liga. It was always Serie A was the biggest league in town. Never really the French league. But the Serie A was the biggest league around when I was growing up. So look, I'd love to know what you guys think on that. It's a really interesting point that has has the Premier League, with all of its structures, um with all of its promise, that it's become too big for its boots, that it's now to the point where the European leagues this Super League will happen, but it'll be just for the European teams. English, as the president said today, the Barcelona president, we don't need the English teams. They've got their own Super League. So are we now looking at, is the Super League now turned on its head, that the European team's going to get together and say, hang on a minute, we're going to set up our own league. Let's try to compete with the Premier League. Because at the moment, European clubs cannot afford to buy Premier League players. It's not, and this is why I think there wasn't much business in the summer and this window, because there's a lot of teams like Chelsea, like Newcastle, like other teams as well, that cannot afford to buy because of FFP. Newcastle couldn't spend a penny if they would spend, because they would have broke FFP. Now, does FFP need to change? Does the spending limit of FFP need to be risen? Possibly it does. I'm no financial expert, believe me. I only know what I read and what I look and find on YouTube and what I find in articles about FFP. The likes of Sean on Spurs Talk Show is the man to go to with all this, because he's the business brains of the Spurs community. He knows what he's talking about. I just feel that the Premier League, with all its success, with all its money it's generated, with all its growth it's had since its inception in 92-93, hasn't really filtered down to the lower leagues where it needs to. The money seems to have stayed within the Premier League and possibly the Championship. But if you go down to League One and League Two, the money doesn't filter down. The pyramid, I think, is broken too. And this is why I think you're seeing clubs, the likes of Chelsea, who spent over $1 billion on transfers, on long contracts, on 7-8 year contracts. Now, if you say Tottenham bought Gallagher, right, over for 8 years, and they could have paid it over a 8-year contract, it isn't very expensive. It doesn't work out expensive. But with the Premier League putting a vote in that you can only, if you sign a player, get him on an 8-year contract, you only have 5 years to pay off that debt, that transfer fee. So it ends up becoming more expensive over them 5 years. And Chelsea, for all of their bright sparks, thinking, hang on a minute, let's spend. Well, don't worry, we've got him on a 10-year contract. It's only going to work out to be what, 3 or 4, 5 million a year, or 10 million a year for 100 million. Then suddenly the Premier League vote in this new rule that you can only pay it over 5 years. That's now for 100 million. If I'm right, I think it works out to be over 5 years, 20 million a year. So you add an extra 10 million on top of that. And then you got your operating costs for running your football club. You got your wages. I mean, I read today Chelsea's wages are around about 360 million. Chelsea earn 500 million. So you subtract that leaves you round about what, 100 and something million left. And then you got to pay your operation costs at the club, which leaves you in probably a minus of 200 million. This is where I think most clubs are going to fall foul. Chelsea are going to definitely go for a points deduction. Also, this is where the Everton thing as well comes into it, where their appeal, if Everton succeed with their appeal, and it turns from a points deductions into fines, then it's open season. It's like any team like Chelsea. Okay, well, we're going to appeal it because we know if we appeal this decision, we're going to be hit with a fine. It's like hitting Man City with a fine. There's no point, because it's pocket change to these teams. And I just feel the Premier League at the moment have to hit these clubs that break FFP, the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Manchester City, with the hardest bit of punishment going. And I don't care, people that are anti-Levy, it's down to you. But Levy has done a good job. Maybe not the football side, but if you look at the financial side of it, you look at the books, we cannot be done for FFP, which means points deductions, which means not getting into Europe. This is why I think we're in a great state when it comes to the summer transfer window. I think we're ahead of the curve because the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Newcastle, the likes of other teams will have to sell players. Chelsea are in the race against time to get their books into order. This is why they're trying to sell Gallagher for 60, 70 million. He's not worth 60 or 70 million. Why should we pay an overpriced for a player that's only worth 35, 40 million or 30 million? It just doesn't make sense. And Chelsea are in a lot of problems. They really are. But let's go through the chat. Sorry, I've waffled on for too long. And then we have, right, where are we? Here we go. Big up Daniela. Dyer and Reggie and Spence, they need to go permanently. They're only in those. Dyer is, but look, yeah, I think we've done that one. Carl Simpson, no one sold anyone. It is the way the market is. It is, Carl. Premier Leagues can buy off each other, but they're buying overpriced players. And Europe can't buy players because they've got no money at all. It really is that. Big up to Greg as well. Sorry for Reggie. I do think there's a player in there still. Hope he finds the right fit for him. So do I, actually. I quite like Regular. We are a big slice of that with the Rududu. Yeah, we are, Peter Rem. Absolutely. Cohen, spot on, Dermot. I'm fine with it, actually. Taking advantage in the summer, and these teams are screwed. Don't waste that money in January. Look, I just feel... Oh, if only. Ollie Watkins, that's a good... Do you know what? I would take a pump on him. I would actually go for Ollie Watkins. I think he'd do a job for us. I really do. But that's just my opinion. I don't think everybody else would agree with that. But I agree with you, Simon. Ollie Watkins would be a great thing. Peter M said, I doubt if we could get the best players in January. We were good to get what we have. I'm not sure that the elusive deal was out there. That is the problem. A lot of players don't want to move in January. And a lot of players with 6 months left in the contract. This is where you start getting, pre-contract deals done. Carl Simpson, us taking this kid from Barca has caused a meltdown from other clubs. They're freaking out. They are. Tottenham are on the way back, boys. We're on the way back. No special bonuses also for those 30 agents this year. No. It's absolutely true, Carl. That's another big thing as well. That's the other reason the money's down, because the agent fees have been banned. Carl also said it proves the English league has got all the money. When we don't spend nothing, other countries spend. Yeah. But Philip, Carl, do you feel we're too big? Do you feel the Premier League is too big for its boots now? That we've overtaken, that European clubs can't compete with us? Big up to Chris Lonnie. Big up, Chris. It's good evening, Dermot. I'm very happy with both windows. We were well set for the rest of the season. Qualification for Europe. Spend the dollars in the summer for quality, not for someone else's dross. Exactly. Carl Simpson says, but Laporte does need the English clubs, or there's no revenue in TV deals because they are not interested with our English club. That's true as well, but they're going to try to do it themselves as well. So let's see how far they go, Carl. Dross, lower quality. Gallagher, Solanke, Tony, the likes. Add in the youth to the squad and we're stronger. Add another year and see us with a great squad. Yeah. I mean, out of that list, Gallagher, Solanke, Tony, I would go for Gallagher. I wouldn't go for Solanke or Tony. I think they're Dross. But I think Gallagher's quality. I like Gallagher. Always have done. But big up, Chris. We've got Molten Barley. Big up, Molten Barley. So January was a window too soon for us regarding FFP bargains. Come the summer, we'll be able to pick and choose in a buyer's market. Exactly. We've got Leslie Clawford as well. If we had 1 to 6 cup finals we got to under Levy, we wouldn't hear all this abuse he gets. We lost to Man City, Man United, Liverpool, and Chelsea, all the biggest budgets than us at the time. Do you know what? I totally agree with that. I actually do totally agree with that 100%. And I know Philip does as well. Philip Brady, who does the channel with me, he will agree with that whatsoever. Look, 6 finals we could have won. Look, for a kick here or a kick there, we could have won a Premier League title, a Champions League, a couple of FA Cups, and a couple of League Cups. Do you know? It's only for a kick here or a kick there. Chris Lawrence says fans need to be realistic about rumours. Must have been over 30 plays Spurs supposedly after number of that. And that's why on here we didn't give out every rumours. Even with the deal for Noosa, we didn't do. We didn't go with it because I was told that it was touch and go. And we just go for the players we go the news we bring for you on transfers on this channel is we know it's 100% going to happen. And there's no point going with every other Tom, Dick, and Harry. Molten Brandy, one potential huge weakness we have is our number 2 goalkeeper. God forbid something happens to Vigario. With Foster and goal, we'd be in deep trouble. Need a reserve and fast. I agree with you there. I totally agree with you, Molten Brandy. Absolutely spot on. We need a second goalkeeper. This is why I go for Bazzuno of Southampton. I really would. Our keeper, who's our number 1 keeper for Ireland. He's very good. He's quick with the ball. He likes to play out. He's good with his feet. Would he become to be a number 2 at Tottenham? Doubt it. But I would love him at Spurs. I think he'd be a great signing. Carl Simpson says, no, we are completely fine where we are. The other countries can't compete with us. They can't, Carl. That's true. And he says, there's a problem. It didn't manage their leagues properly. And Carl, you can remember as much as I can Serie A being the biggest league when I was a kid. And La Liga as well. And the British First Division, as it was at the time before the Premier League, stadiums were falling apart. Players weren't getting paid well. This is why all the players went to Europe. Because it's where the best stadia was. It was where the best leagues were. It's where the best money was. This is why a lot of these players made their money. And it's a bit like some of these players going to Saudi Arabia. I mean, we were offered Benzema, but we would have had to pay 3.3 million for his wages each week. I mean, Philip worked it out earlier when we were talking about it to 50 million for 6 months. That would bankrupt most clubs. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of money to pay. Yeah, we would love Benzema. What a striker for 6 months, banging in the goals. Great. Not worth 3.3 million a week. Go and sod yourself. Paul G. Good afternoon, Dermot. Good afternoon, Paul. Hi, Paul, as well. Coyce. Big up. We've got Leslie Crawford, 2009 final. We lost on penalties. Yeah, we did. We did lose on penalties. And that's what I'm saying. For a kick here or a kick there, we could have been quite successful. Look, I understand where all these people are coming from. I get it. We haven't been successful. We haven't bought the players in we should have done. We didn't spend for 3 transfer windows. I understand that argument. But if you have to get the gain, you have to take the pain. And we took a pain by not spending, by building the new stadium, by trying to get more revenue in for the club. And I understand people are not happy with that. I understand people are against regenerating the area and building a hotel. It was all part within the contract. Tottenham had to regenerate the Tottenham area. It needs regenerating badly. I understand I understand that people want a football club to be a football club. But it's not the same as it was in the 90s. It wasn't the same in the 80s. Football is not football anymore. Football is a business. Business people will run businesses. Football clubs are not normal football clubs anymore. And people need to understand that. It's not a case of a Jack Walker coming in to buy Blackburn, spending millions and millions of pounds and winning the Premier League. a lot of these clubs, the likes of Man City, the likes of Newcastle, the likes of other clubs who are owned by nations. They're owned by like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, oil-rich countries that have billions and trillions to spend. So if you try to compete with that, you're going to go bankrupt very, very quickly, or you'll end up getting relegated. Where I get where the Levy out people are coming from, I do understand where they're coming from. I was one myself until I sat back and looked at it logically. You cannot, you cannot compete with these teams. So you're going to have to compete with the teams around you. And you have to compete with the money that you've got coming in. There's no point spending out millions and millions and millions and billions of pounds on the team. Yeah, you win a Champions League, you win a league. You'll only get so much revenue from that. But it's the money that's going out of the club. So if you're spending more than what you can earn, you're going to end up in debt very quickly. And I feel this is where I think Daniel Levy has got it spot on. And this is why top four is so important, because top four guarantees you a big chunk of the pie in the Champions League. But we've had to do it in a sensible way. You have to do it. You have to do it in a way. Look, I can remember us nearly going out of existence. And a lot of people say, well, that was 30 years ago. Well, maybe to you it's 30 years ago, but to me it means something. It meant something. I nearly lost my football club because of the person that was in charge went into other businesses, they didn't work, and spent, and we ended up in debt. And look, I'm not Levy's biggest fan, but I am very grateful for the way he's running our football club. And a lot of other people are going to say, "Well, look, Dermot, you're talking shite. You know, Levy's nothing but a waster. We haven't won anything under him. What have we achieved? Top four is a trophy." And I'm looking to think, well, hang on a minute. We've got clubs that are owned by nations, by oil-rich nations that have trillions of pounds or trillions or whether dollars running around in our countries. If you want to compete with them, we're going to end up with no football club. We've got a stadium that's self-sustaining, and all that money goes back to the football club. We've had a very good window in the summer. We had a good window in January. We've got more to do next summer. Yet there is more to do. It's not complete yet. But I feel we're going in the right place. And I feel next season, this season, including to next season, I feel we're going to be contenders. Because we've built it right. We got it wrong under Jose Mourinho. We got it wrong under Conte. We got it wrong under Nuno. And by the lap of the gods, Levy and Ange came together by accident. But it's worked out. And we've bought Sensby in the summer. Other clubs, Chelsea, Man United are in trouble. Newcastle are in trouble. Chelsea are in loads of trouble. And we're not. So where I get their argument, where I get it's all about trophies. Yeah, football is about trophies. Football is about winning. Football is also a business now. It's not what it was 30 years ago. The goalposts have changed. And we've got to accept the goalposts have changed in our game. We have to accept that running a football club now is not just about running a football club. It's about running a business. It's about making sure the books are balanced because of all the rules that we've got to go with now, all the FFP rules. Make sure that we do break even or make a profit. Do make sure that if we buy a couple of players in, that we've got to sell players out to balance the books. It's all about balancing the books. And because other clubs haven't done that, you look at Chelsea, who spent over $1 billion on players. Yeah, that's great for the fans. We've got an owner that wants to invest in the team. But down the line, that's gonna bite you in the ass. That's gonna bite you in the ass, and that's gonna get your club either points deductions or where you got to sell your best assets. Chelsea are at that point. They have to sell their best assets. We don't. Yes, we sold Harry Kane. But Harry Kane wanted to go anyway. I would rather have Harry Kane stay at the club, to be fair, but you got a player in the years left in his contract. Would you rather get money for him and let him go for free? I'm not going. He got bitten once with the Sol Campbell dilemma, and I understand why he left. But the point I'm making is that what do you do? And I think we've done it smartly. We really have. Sorry for the rant. Mike Travers, that's a very good call, actually, DJ. It's a good shout, Mark Travers, for a backup goalkeeper. It's not a bad shout, actually. I'm going to talk about this on the podcast as well tomorrow night, guys, at 9. The Cockerel Cock podcast is back after the transfer window. Me and Philip will be going over that. I will ask that to Philip. I might ask him later on the rugby watch along. Carl Simpson, Bazzuno won't be second choice. Do you know what? I think he might want to come to Tottenham. Serie A was massive back in the day. I remember, yeah, hardly any player left in Italian football back in the day. You had Liam Brady went out there in the 80s. You had Graham Souness went out there. Maradona was in that league. Then Gaza went out there. Then you had who else went? David Platt went to Bari. You had Ruud Gullit. You had Lothar Matthäus. You had Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. All the people, Michel Platini, all the people that were world famous players were in the Italian league. So the Italian league back in the day was the Premier League. I just hope the Premier League doesn't fall into the same traps the Italian league did. Big up to Martin Bondi. I understand the criticism Levy's face, so do I, concerning football matters, but this guy is a financial genius, and maybe now we can begin to reap the rewards from that. I agree with you. I agree with 100%. Carl Simpson, don't worry, don't worry, all it will make it all sweeter when the big Ange is there holding the trophy. Exactly. Later Crawford, hopefully with European football next season, we can rotate our squad. There will be plenty of game time competing in 4 tournaments. Exactly. Malt and Barley, when do we eventually win something soon? I hope it will be with a clear conscience, no fear of having to look over your shoulder for the FA officials coming to invoke penalties. That is spot on. That's coming off the stream. That is spot on. I agree with that 100%. Absolutely spot on, Molten Barley. That's comment of the stream so far. It really is. Carl Simpson says, I'm still leaving out, not because of his actual decision, as he's a very shrewd, but I cannot forget the massive balls up he made. Look, Carl, he has made balls up, right? And nobody's ever going to forgive him for the balls up. But I think he's got his intentions right. I think the intentions were right, but he made wrong decisions, if you know what I mean. And where you look at Ivan Scholar, the way he ballsed up in the big possible way where we nearly lost a football club. Levy has made mistakes. He didn't back Poch. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. But you can't label him with everything. Not winning a trophy. Well, we were in position to win trophies. We just didn't take the chance to win them. And I feel that if you can't blame the manager, you're going to blame the owner. So I just feel everyone has to take responsibility for the balls up. But he is the figurehead, if you know what I mean. I agree with you. I know you're getting that, Carl. I do agree with you within what you're saying. But I just feel there's a bit more to that argument than just making it just one thing. I think there's a bit more you could bring into that. Molten Bosniak, Man City could very well end up as a footballing equivalent of Lance Armstrong as far as cheating is concerned. That I've seen the documents for that. Well, I was shown the documents for that. We did do a show in it about what they could face. And I'll tell you one thing, the stuff you didn't see that I saw, they're in a hell of a lot of trouble. It could be very, very bad times for Man City. Steve D, big up Steve D. Hope you're doing well. So I haven't seen you for a while. Nice to see you in the chat. It says 2 things can be true at the same time. Levy has done lots to be happy with, but you can't ignore Joel sacking, not back and Poch, sacking Jose for a final. Let's hope he's... You're right to bring up them points because, yeah, we shouldn't forget them mistakes, and nor should he. Nor should he forget of the mistakes he's made, and hopefully he has learned from them. But the point I was trying to make, Steve D, was that if you look at the likes of Chelsea on the financial side of it, we're in a better place than they are. Absolutely. Leslie Crawford says Todd Bowley has spent $1 billion on new players at Chelsea. They finished 12th last season, are now 10th. Their ground has still to be rebuilt. And let us not forget, if they don't get into Europe this season, which I don't think they will, they're in a hell of a lot of problems. Because then they will have to sell the majority of their players just to break even. And I feel that I just feel going to sit back and laugh at them because it is going to be funny. I can forgive him. I was there in 2007 watching the team I love playing Europe, only to hear Lavi sack Jola have. I can never forgive him. Look, I watched that on TV. I was a young lad as well. Look, that is unforgivable. But we have to move on from that. We can't keep looking back and looking at things that happened in the past. Yeah, everyone makes mistakes. I make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes in life. You learn from the mistakes, you move on. Daniel Levy has made mistakes at Tottenham. Yeah, I grant you. But I feel that he's learned from them. And I feel just I just feel we need to move on. Big up Simon Cohen as well. You talk so much sense, Dermot. Well, you're the only person to ever say that to me in my life, but thank you very much. I'll take that. Simon says, Simon, you'll give Dermot a massive head. Yeah, well, my ego doesn't need, haven't got an ego, but anyway. Carl Simpson, unforgivable. Well, that's Steve D. Seeing this man sitting there with the whole second half known, we all know, completely upset. It was horrible. It was horrible to watch. It really, I don't agree with the Martin Yell thing. I am with you on that, by the way. Absolutely with you, that 100%. Joel took us from obscurity to a club with pride, deserves so much more. He was a catalyst to the modern Spurs. He built the foundations, I think, for what we're seeing now. He really is. If in doubt, pleat it out. Yeah. David Pleat, the great man who's sponsored by the RSC and AA and loves breaking down around street corners, especially late at night. Carl Simpson, Man City are League Two by the end of it. I think so. I really do. We've got Big T. Not every club wins things. Some will never will. Root the disappointment is expectation, accept nothing and be joyous. If you win something, surprise will always be the biggest joy. Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Chris says, Levy out. Let's be careful what you wish for. A change of ownership comes with a change of manager. Yep, that's so true. Well, we look at that. Levy came in, sacked George Graham and brought in Glenn Hoddle. And let's not forget, George Graham won us the League Cup by that point, so he did win us the trophy. Molten Barley, did you realize that our win midweek was our first league victory in 5 years without involvement of Kane and Son? I did not know that. That's a stat and a half. That is a stat and a half. Wow. And then Wembley one says, but in Daniel Levy's own mind, he's never made a mistake. It doesn't take 24 years for anyone to finally start to run the cup properly. Look, he's made mistakes. I get that. I'm trying to talk from a financial point of view where if you look at the likes of Chelsea, if you look at the teams that are run with big money, and clubs are owned by nations that have oil. If you were going to compete with that, you would end up going bankrupt very quickly, and that's the point I'm trying to make. I agree with you that Joel Sacking was bad. I agree with you, he should have pat Poch. I agree with you, there is things he should have done, but he didn't do. I get that, but I'm looking at it from a point of view. People saying, I want them to compete with Man City, I want them to compete with Liverpool, I want them to compete with Arsenal or Chelsea. Well, Chelsea spent $1 billion on players, and they were up the street, they're up the creek without a paddle. Manchester City are owned by the biggest country in the world, but they could end up playing in League Two because of their breaking the laws. And I feel that if you were to compete with these clubs, you would end up in a lot of trouble. Look, I know we wanted to win stuff. Nobody wants us to win something more than me. I've seen us win stuff. I've seen us win 2 FA Cups, 3 FA Cups, a European UEFA Cup, and 2 League Cups. There's fans that have never seen us win anything. I feel sorry for them fans. Yeah, there should be done more at the club for our past. There should be a statue of Bill Nick outside. There should be more. Bill Nick Gate should be brought back. I know the Tottenham clock is there. So look, there's a lot of ifs and a lot of buts. There's a lot of we should have done this, we should do this, we could have done that. And yes, there is a lot to be angry about. Yes, there's a lot to be frustrated about. Yes, there's a lot to be we should have done this. If only. If is a small word with a big meaning. If only we back Poch. If only we didn't play Kane and played Mora in the Champions League final. If only we beat Man United. We're the ones that got the penalties, and Paul Robertson, I think it was in goal that day, saved the penalties for Man United. If only we beat Chelsea at Wembley, and not played Son at left wing back. If it's a lot of ifs. And everyone's right to be angry on the footballing side that we haven't competed. But football isn't just football anymore. Football is a business. You have to run it as a business. And as a business, we're compared to Chelsea, compared to other clubs, we're a better run than most other clubs in the Premier League. Now, a lot of people saying about sacking Yo. A lot of people are saying that he should have backed Poch. All that is yes. I agree with you. 100% I agree with you. But we can't keep harking back to that because it's like beating the donkey with a dead brush. It's like Trigger's quote in Only Fools and Horses. I've had one brush last me for 25 years, but it's had 17 heads and 15 new handles. It's not the same brush, is it? We've got to move on. We've got to move on from this narrative of trying to keep harking back to the past where mistakes were made. Yes, we all know mistakes were made. We all know we could have done better. We all know he should have done better. We all know he should have backed Poch. We all know he should be buying players. We all shouted out for a centre back for years and years and years and years. We were stuck with Dyer and Sanchez. We all knew they needed replacement. But now he's doing it. Now we're getting the centre backs in. Ange is taking us to a level where let's hope that Ange can take us to the promised land. But we can't keep harking back to the past because the past is just, you keep looking back, you're going to get a sore neck. Let's look at the future. The future is exciting. The future is bright. The future is where Tottenham are going to be. Tottenham are going to win trophies because we've got it in place. And I just feel we're at the time now that this window, we've got players in early. We've never done that under Levy. Every transfer window we've had under Daniel Levy, we've waited to the last minute to get signings in. We got them within the first couple of weeks of the window. And this is what Ange said today. They're in, they're settled, they're within the club, they're doing fine. We have to go out, as I said that's the title of the show, out with the old, in with the new. We got to start from this season. Forget what's happened. Well, not forget, but we can forget what we can never forgive. But we've got to move on. We've got to move on. We've got to look forward. There's a lot of things we wish we'd done differently in our life. There's a lot of things we wish Levy done different in the past. But we can't change that now. Yeah, one trophy since in 15 years isn't good enough. It is not good enough. But you look at Newcastle, haven't won a trophy since the 1960s. Everton haven't won anything for a long time. The teams that have won something have had massive backing. Have had the Glazers spent over $1 billion. Look at Old Trafford; it's fallen down to bits. Look where Man United are now. You look at Chelsea, who had a Russian oligarch that came in, spent. Look where Chelsea are now. Do you know? I understand people want success. People now want success and they want it now. And people are starved of success. People are starved of wanting Tottenham to win something. I all get that. I'm as starved as anyone. 43 years supporting Tottenham Hotspur. I want us to win every season. Leicester. Yeah, look, I am going to bring this up and I'm going to work my way back up. Leicester and Wigan. Yeah, I know they won a league and they won an FA Cup. But that's the luck. The FA Cup is you have to be lucky to win the FA Cup you have to have a certain amount of luck. And the year Leicester won the league, but look, that was just a freak season. We just have to see what we're doing. Levy receiving praise for virtually every other club chairman has been doing the matter of course that's 20 years. That's trying to make the club truly competitive. I'm just trying to make my point how I feel about it. And I've never really talked about how I really feel about it and how I see it myself with my own two eyes. And maybe it's about of me wanting to get out there, finding the opportunity today to actually get out how I feel. I know a lot of people are going to probably are going to clip me and I'm going to get abuse from this probably for it. I don't care. It's how I feel. It's my opinion. And that's how it should be. But Paul G said, that's true, Wembley, but Mike Ashley did not do that. The Glazers aren't. Leslie Crawford, Leicester, Wigan, Portsmouth, where are they now? Struggling. The Glazers did not spend any of their own money. They spent the money United. Exactly. But look where United are now. They didn't spend it on infrastructure. They didn't spend it. They did, the Old Trafford's fallen down. It's fallen. I mean, Columns told me a piece of concrete fell down and missed a fan or missed a couple of fans. It's shocking. We've got Paul saying, haha, Carl's saying, we cannot keep looking back. Fuck you, so you giant prick. Then I'll move on now. Yeah, absolutely. We've got, I love what you're doing, mate, but let's be honest. We all got it. Look, I love what you're doing, mate, but let's be honest. All we got is past. Let's hope. Exactly. I know. Completely agree, Dermo, but let's hope Aleppo can change his spots. I think it can. Let's see where we are in the next few years. Hopefully with trophy. Same here. Leslie Crawford says Enoch didn't have much competition when buying Tottenham because of back then football wasn't as profitable as it is today. More owners lost money. Yeah, that is so true. Paul G says the grass isn't always greener. Carl Simpson, if Travis Stock said Levy was selling Spurs, he would have had a massive hissy fit, lying on the floor, crying, and then locking himself in the secret room with the contract. Exactly. I just wish fans would stop. Yeah, this from Morton Barley. I just wish fans would stop trying to hang the disappointments of the past years onto Ranch's shoulders. Remember the past, but embrace the future. I much prefer sunrise to sunset. Always have, cause that's so true. Big up. Big T says, question, Dermot. Yep. Dermot, is your club better position now than when you were at White Hart Lane? And can you credit Levy for the improvement? That's a good question. I think look, since we had a great last season at White Hart Lane, when we went unbeaten and we had the potential to win a league there. We had the potential we got to a Champions League final after the new stadium was built. Yeah, it's been ups and downs. It's been up and downs for me, but I think now we're seeing the more ups than downs now. Yeah, I can give Levy credit for the financial side of the club, that we're financially secure. Um, we 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 are in a place now that we're in a better place than we were under Jose and Conte and Nuno, for definite. He's made mistakes, of course he has, but I just feel we're in a better place. So yeah, I can give him credit for the financial side. Have really improved since White Hart Lane. I think it's up and down. I think we've had ups and downs, but look, hopefully more ups now than down in the future. But big up, Big T. Thank you for the question. Levy isn't going anywhere. This man is unremovable. Steve D says, I'm 55. Joe should be knighted for being the architect of the modern day Spurs, in my opinion. Yeah. Wembley one says, but in Daniel Levy's own mind, he was never made it. Oh, yeah, I read that one. Right. Let's go back down to the bottom, guys. We've got Carl Simpson. The stadium was a must. We wouldn't have had the players now if we had the old one. No, that's true. Um, I'm in Oz and follow Ange for a few years now. Couldn't give a shit about Levy in the past. All I see is success in the future and very soon. I totally agree with that. Leslie Crawford, Steve D. We've spent 200 million since Ange arrived 6 months ago. Look, I'm still with Ange. Lewis to Ferrari. I know. That's the biggest disappointment. We didn't get Lewis Hamilton. Steve D. Leslie Crawford, polishing silverware. Look, I was Conte out when we were second in the league, when it was really unpopular to be Conte out. Love what I'm seeing, but Levy has to be backed. Levy has to back Ange in the summer. Yeah, I think he will too. Big T says the club spent billions, not the Glazers, and the club could only spend billions because of its good business. You have to build the business to progress in the football. I think Spurs are on the right path. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 110%. Football is not just football anymore. Football is a business. So to succeed in business, you got to grow your business. And I think that's what we've done. Out of 50 different teams that play in the Premier League, 44 have faced relegation. Wow, that is a stat. We've got Michael McDonald. Tottenham time is coming in the next few years. You just need to stop Ange. He needs to stop Ange going to his beloved Liverpool. He ain't going nowhere. Don't worry. Don't start, Michael. Don't start. That's not true at Wembley. Mike Ashley didn't do that. The Glazers aren't. Okay. Where are we now? Carl Simpson. Son is about to become at home. 1-0 down to Australia. 84 minutes. Oh, Sonny. He's coming home. He's coming, son. He's coming home. Never mind. Of all the clubs in the Premier League, Spurs are the one who can sleep at night without fear of nightmares. Only dream what is to come with a smile. Absolutely. What will happen first? Spurs to win a trophy or Lewis Hamilton wins another championship? Ooh, that's a good one. Spurs to win the trophy. Though I am over the moon. Hamilton's gone to Ferrari, by the way. I've always wanted that to happen. And then Steve D, Lezikov, Vicario, Destiny, Madders, Drogishin, etc. All fantastic signings. Just want to see Levy kick on once we get Champions League again. I'm not sitting these laurels. I am happy with night. Now, so am I. So am I. Listen, guys, that is it for Newsbeat for this week. What a week it's been. Transfer window closed. Tottenham doing a bit of business. I've really enjoyed this show, by the way. Thank you so much for joining me. Um, you know, I don't like doing these shows on my own, but I really do. When you guys get involved in it, it gives me the confidence to keep talking about what I'm saying, and you drag me into conversations that I don't normally would talk about when I do shows with Philip. We try to get them structured. So thank you so much. It means a lot. I do miss my co-host, by the way, though. I'm glad when he's back tonight. P.S. Supporting Celtic and Spurs before moving here. Watch Spurs in 1971 knocking Dunfermline out of the Fair City Cup. Wow. Ooh. You supported them a long time, Chris. Big up, sir. Carl Simpson, we have to start with a very, yeah, it is. Absolutely agree with you 100%. And Leslie Crawford, Steve D, fully on board with everything he said, including Conte app. Yeah, so was I. Well, listen, we are back tonight at 7:45 with our rugby watch along. Yes, it is back. It's the biggest show in town. It's the biggest show where I know sod all about rugby, and Philip knows everything about rugby, so he's teaching me. So there's a question we're asking. I'm going to put it in the chat tonight. Do you think we should start a rugby channel to do all the rugby stuff on a separate channel that keeps it away from the main footballing channel, like I've done with Formula One. So let me know what you think, guys. Let me know. I'm going to run a poll tonight. And then we'll see where we'll go. But the rugby tonight is on THFC till I die. But the question to you guys, put it in the comments as well. Do you want us to start a rugby channel to cover the rugby matches so it keeps it separate from the THFC channel itself? Let us know what you think. Big T, nah, Ange wins F1. Well, okay, yeah, fair enough. Leslie Crawford, big up. Big up, Dirty Dermo. See you in the cockerel. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, that's on tomorrow night, Carl. We've got rugby tonight. And I still don't know how many points for a conversion. How many points for a conversion? 5? 6? I don't know. Wait for Philip to tell me. You should start a channel. You're learning every sport you haven't got a clue about. Exactly. Absolutely spot on, Carl. And Big T says, I must say, of all the channels I watch, this one gives me the greatest enjoyment. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you, Big T. Very kind of you at all. We've got Chris. Cheers, Dermo. Very good show. Thank you so much indeed. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the people joining in as well, for all your comments. Whatever you do, enjoy the rest of your Friday. We are back tonight at 7:30 with the rugby. Well, 7:45 with the rugby watch along. And I tell you what we're going to do. What am I going to do? I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to say, come on, you Spurs. In Big Ange, we trust. Woohoo!